Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Wednesday Words on Wednesday the 29th of October. My name's Debs Barrett from Adapt Counselling, and this week I'm going to be talking to you about the writing journey, journaling if you like, or keeping a diary that we can so often do, and that is so helpful for the progress of therapy. Often it has been proven now, there's clinical evidence that when we write with our hands rather than just thinking our thoughts in our head, different parts of the brain light up and it can help with overwhelm. Now I have a tool that I use for writing. It's part of a game called the Writer's Toolbox. It's by somebody called Jamie Cat Callan, and I've had this game for a number of years, and I guess it's aimed at authors and teaching people how to write for pleasure. And I just wondered whether it's possible to use it as a form of therapy. And the way it works, it has 3 sets of lollipop sticks. It has green lollipop sticks for the first sentence of your story. So you pick them like lots. You put them all out in a piece of paper or a box or something and pick one out. And that will be your first sentence, regardless of what it says on it. And then moving on to what's called the non sequitur, and this is a blue lollipop stick. This has what could be the second sentence, the third sentence, the fourth sentence, the fifth sentence. Each lollipop stick that you pick, you write for 3 minutes on whatever it says on the stick, until you've had enough of doing that, really. I used 2 this morning. And then we have the brown lollipop sticks. These ones are called the last straw. And this is the final sentences, the conclusion of your story, if you like. And as I said, I was doing the experiment this morning, and I thought how useful it might be to therapy. Instead of doing this as a game and priming your imagination, inventing thoughts, using it in real life. I'm going to give you an example by reading to you what I wrote this morning. You may find it helpful, you may not. I hope that it's helpful to somebody listening to this, and this is my personal story. I started with the green for the first sentence. First one I picked up: your mother lied to you, that's the truth. What did I write? I think she frequently lied to me because she was ill, because I was a child, because at the time I didn't matter. Nothing mattered. She felt invisible, unloved and uncared for. My mother, who was supposed to be there for me, so often was not. So often it was like I was the worst person in the world. Like I was no good. Like I was bad. Like I was trouble. And that was the end of the 3 minutes. Then we had the blue stick called the non sequitur, and I picked up: you could make a living doing that sort of thing. I suppose I could. but I had never thought about it till then. And I wrote, when I lived at home during my college year, Mum had a year where she was stable and well for most of the time. When I finished college, I had worked hard and I was so proud of myself. I simply couldn't find a job. Mum supported me, encouraged me, looked out for possibilities. She spotted the careers fair I attended, which culminated in my first job at the British Broadcasting Corporation. The second blue one I picked up said, she was standing behind the counter giving him this root beer face kind of smile. Root beer face? Haven't heard of that term before. What did I write? Mum would often wear a mask. The mask that hid her emotions. She would present with a fake smile, which even as a young child didn't ring true. I could tell she was sad. I felt powerless, alone and unloved. The worst part of Mum's illness was when I was taken to visit her in hospital. Big, tall ceilings. It made me really sad. I felt so alone and I hated the bruises all over Mum's body. And then, finally, the last straw, the brown lollipop. I picked the thing he does with the newspaper. Reminds me of my dad when he used to sit on the settee with a large paper like The Guardian, smoking his pipe, filling the lounge with clouds of smoke. Sometimes it would make me cough, but not as bad as when Mum showed me not as bad as when Mum smoked at the same time. And over the years, it made the lounge ceiling turn yellow. Imagine that. Yellow. No way to bring up children. Now, I don't know whether you found that helpful or not. But for me, it was incredibly helpful. I didn't know that I was still hanging on to those thoughts. And it was only really the lollipop sticks that brought those to the surface. And that's what made me think they can be used in therapy, even in the counselling room. And I'm planning on using some with some of my clients. Now, of course, in order to write, we don't need lollipop sticks. We just need a pen, a paper, and go for it. We very often are an obstacle to our own free-flow writing. Try not to think about what you're going to write. Just maybe put your timer on your phone. Right, the first thing that comes into your head without stopping yourself, because it will be what is in your mind. And I can almost guarantee that that will help you with a feeling of being less overwhelmed and more able to cope with your day. If you have liked this video, please like, share and comment. I'd love to know what you think about it too, and do pass on to your friends. My name's Debs Barrett from Adapt Counselling. This was my Wednesday Words, and I look forward to catching up with you again next week. Bye bye now.